wanted to come to you yesterday, well, last night, to be honest with you, and I was going to talk to you about JJ Bund's mother's statement concerning his disappearance. And I suppose I could do that now. I could sort of mention that. You must understand, guys, the problem with the JJ Bund case is that many of you are looking at it through political eyes. Many of you are viewing Banda through a political bias lens. The moment you do that, you lose yourself. Because here's the thing, guys. According to the police report and according to what happened, you remember JJ Bunda was over there in Chipata, and he was being guarded. He was under strict guard by 5 police officers, and one of JJ Bunda's wives went to see him after his hernia operation, and she said, look, we need some privacy because my husband needs to be soaked in salt, and you know, my husband is not going to disrobe in front of you police officers. He can only do that in front of me, his wife. And so the police, according to the statements that one of JJ Bunda's wives gave, according to the statements that the police gave, they decided to give Bunda privacy with his wife. Well, you know, a few minutes later, the wife emerged saying, oh, my husband disappeared. I don't know where the hell he's gone to, but he's gone. And Lord, have mercy, he's gone. He's just disappeared like flatulence in the wind. Well, the truth is he escaped lawful custody. Let me tell you what it means when they say you escaped lawful custody. It means the police were holding you. The police were detaining you lawfully, meaning you broke the law, you committed a crime, therefore the police have arrested you, they are detaining you, they are holding you lawfully. Now, when you leave, when you escape, you have escaped lawful custody. And that's against the law. You've broken the law when you do that. Now, there's nothing strange about prisoners escaping custody. It happens all the time. The problem with you guys is that you've politicized it. No, he was in the custody of the police, so the police must know where he is. How are they going to know where he is? They don't know where he is yet. You know what? Because he escaped. When I was in Mwembeshi, you remember my stint. I spent 6 days in prison, in Mwembeshi prison. The prisoners there told me a very interesting story. Remember those boys, the boys that abducted those girls, the phone booth girls? Remember that? Remember that story? Tell me in the comments if you remember that. I'm going somewhere with this story, so stick with me. Watching from Durban, thank you. Tell me in the comments if you remember the story of these young men that had abducted these girls. You remember that story? Tell me in the comments. Say, yes, Mr. Mwewa, I remember. I remember vividly. I remember very clearly. Tell me if you remember that. Well, yes, I remember. Mwewa says I remember. Well, those guys were sent to Mwembeshi. Can I tell you that some of them tried to escape? I think one of them got away. There were 4 of them that tried to escape. They climbed on top of the view towers, which Mwembeshi, I found that strange that Mwembeshi does not have 24-hour security on the view towers. You know what a view tower is? You know where the guards stand on those high towers and they overlook the terrain of the prison. They look at the landscape to make sure that nobody's gonna run away, or you know, they stand vigil. Well, at Mwembeshi, I was surprised to learn that they don't have 24-hour security. Prison kwali ba prison mwakwata yama view towers ya kuti 5 o'clock twakomboka, there's no one there after 17 hours. That's nonsense. So those prisoners took advantage of the fact that balakomboka kulia kumwembeshi 17 hours bakomboka, there's no one on those towers. So those boys, they climbed on those towers and then they attempted to jump over those high fences. Some of them broke their legs. When the Mwembeshi prison guards were alerted that Aurumendo, what folks to escape, very quickly they climbed upon the towers. Pooh, pooh, pooh. They shot 1 or 2 of them, but one escaped. One of those chaps got away. Now, my question is this. Can you now turn around to the police and say, no, the one who got away, you must know where he is. The police must know where he is. How are they going to know? He's escaped. When a person escapes, up until the time he's reapprehended, the authorities do not know where he is. In Banda's case, he escaped lawful custody at a medical facility while being guarded by 5 guards. And Home Affairs has made it very clear, Kuti, the guards that were guarding Banda, that allowed him to slip through their fingers because they were deceived by the wife. Kuti, we need privacy. My husband needs to be soaked in his salt water. So because he's balafula, because balafula, teti bafula in front of you guards. So imwe ba guard imwe fumeni po to refer privacy. It was in that moment, Dwanzi cops, Dwanzi officers, now baumfira, oh, murefer privacy. Okay, ekeni tufume kabili balafula. Bala imino bwambaba so tatulefo kubamona, so let the man disrobe in privacy in the presence of his wife. Na bakapokola baumfira Banda uyo abo bayabo. Now, for you to start saying, no, the police must know where he is, this is the reason the statement by JJ Bunda's mother was not only inaccurate, it was misleading. It was misleading. The mother is in no position to say to the authorities, you know where my son is. Where is my son? The people who surrounded my son have all been apprehended. They are being questioned left, right, and center, day and night from 6 to 6. That is the job of the police. Why? Because they want to get to the bottom of this. How else do you think that they can get the answers they need but for interrogating the people around Banda? How else do you think that the police are going to make headway but for sitting down with one of JJ Bunda's wives? Especially the one that was there at the facility when Banda escaped. So it is disingenuous. It is misleading. It is inaccurate. Indeed, it is unfair. It is a false narrative to suggest that the police know where Banda is and the mother of Banda is being disadvantaged by being kept in the dark. No such thing is happening. The bottom line, it's simple. Banda escaped. He's a fugitive. The law is after him as we speak. They're after him. So to suggest that the state is holding him again somewhere is foolish. Foolish. Don't look at everything through political eyes. Look at it the way it is. View it for what it is. When Banda escaped, that was his Waterloo. That was his Waterloo. Are you hearing that? Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Let me say that again because I think that's important. Far be it from you, me, or anybody else, much less Banda's mother, to imply Kuti, the police know where he is. When Banda escaped, he made that personal choice. And that now, my brothers and sisters, boys and girls, is his Waterloo. He must face the consequences of that action. Do not turn a fugitive, a criminal on the run, do not turn him into a hero because you are looking at it through political eyes. That is foolish. Brothers and sisters, boys and girls, don't be misled. Do you understand? Don't be misled. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. Secondly, I just want to talk about Rafael Nakachinda. Rafael is a man that was sent by the PF to destabilize the MMD political party. He was induced through money, induced monetarily, and he was sent on an errand of destruction by ECL and his boys. Where ECL sat Nakachinda down and said, Nakachinda, I have but one mission for you. Go in the MMD, destabilize it, destroy it, destroy it. Leave nothing behind. When you are done with the MMD, that party will be nothing but a rumor. That was his assignment. Today, Nakachinda is the one crying foul when we all know that that was his assignment. The guy is a walking accident. Rafael Nakachinda is a walking accident. Left, right, and center. I mean, just the other day I heard him say, no, this government is creating poisonous mini meal. They want to poison us. How irresponsible. You have a big platform and you tell the masses, Kuti, the government is putting poison in mini meal. And then you think the law can't come after you? You know, the problem with these Dao politicians, people like Rafael Nakachinda, people like KBF, the problem with these Dao chaps is that they think they can break the law with impunity, and then when they are taken to task, they cry foul and they say, no, this is political persecution. How is it political persecution when you are breaking the law? I mean, that's nonsense. Brothers and sisters, boys and girls, that is nonsense. When people like Rafael Nakachinda stand on the top mountain and announce, Kuti, this government is feeding its people poisonous mini meal, that is not only irresponsible, it is criminal. Criminal in the highest form, at the apex of the definition of criminal, when you say such things and then you shroud it, you cover it, you camouflage it in political persecution. No, if we were being politically persecuted, twalanda kofie batimanga, twakola batimanga. Bwana, if you are breaking the law, what would you have them do? Let me ask you that. When you break the law, what would you have law enforcement do? Just look at you and pat you on the back and say, no, abatu ilaba kumiyama pantunga twaba kumiyama walamba okulanda tikuti political persecution balekeni. What type of nonsense is that? What type of idiocy is that? What type of foolishness is that? That's your line of logic? We can say whatever we want. We can fabricate. We can make up all types of broad strokes, speak in broad strokes, create falsities. And then when we are arrested and the police come to apprehend us, it is a combat in political persecution. Nonsense. Total, unadulterated, quintessential nonsense, boys and girls. Don't be misled by these amateurs. These amateur politicians, amateurs, Nakachinda, amateurs, KBF, amateurs. They've got nothing to offer. The only thing they have to offer is misinformation, slander, bitterness, anger. There are no checks and balances there whatsoever. There is not a fiber. There is not a smidgen. There is not one iota of checks and balances in Rafael Nakachinda's body, in KBF's body, in Emmanuel Mwamba's body. There's not one single solitary iota of checks and balances. Everything is drenched. Everything is drowning in jealousy, bitterness, and anger. They hate the fact that HH is president now. That's all they do. Every morning they wake up, they say to themselves, they kick themselves in the behind, in the royal tush. And they say, how the hell did we let power slip through our fingers? How the hell did we lose to Hakainde Hichilema? Well, guess what? You lost. You're never coming back ever again, because the Zambian people are smarter than that. We're not going to let a bunch of criminals, mafia despots, bottom feeders, wolves in sheep's clothing come back to power by any means necessary. No, we're not going to do it. We're not doing it. I heard KBF, he was on Emmanuel Mwamba's political program. KBF says, HH has no vision. KBF, you know what that's called? It's called grasping at straws. It means you've got nothing to say, so you just say whatever comes to your head. He has no vision. I think you're talking about someone else. Whenever you're talking about a lack of vision, you're not talking about HH. You're talking about the other gentleman. HH's vision was very clear. Very clear. Of course, he's not perfect. He's not an angel. He's not going to do everything that he set out to do. But the intent, the desire to do and see better is crystal clear. Crystal clear. Now, some of you may argue with that, and that's your privilege. If you don't like that, well, honey, you can jump through this. You can stick that in your pipe and smoke it if you don't like it. You get on your platform and you tell me why you don't like it. But on this platform, I'm going to explain to you that HH is not perfect, but the intent and the desire to see a better Zambia is clear as day. It is undeniable. And so for KBF to sit around a table with Emmanuel Mwamba, Kuti, this president has no vision. HH is president for the sake of being president. If I were to tell you one of the reasons KBF fell out of favor with HH, it's a very interesting story. And it's a very sad story. One of the reasons that KBF fell out of favor with HH was that whenever KBF got close to the president, and this is common knowledge. This is not this. I'm not revealing any cataclysmic secret. I'm not revealing something to you that was hidden or that was swept under the rug and nobody should find out about this. No, man, this is common knowledge. Everybody knows about this, and KBF knows good and hell well what I'm talking about. And this is the truth. Remember, there was a time KBF was getting close to HH, and many people do this. This is the trap that many of these politicians fall into, and it's a very, very sad state of affairs. Tell me in the comments if you're ready to hear this, because it's going to blow your mind. It's going to blow you up. I'm telling you right now, they can go count rice if they don't agree. That's a good one. I like that, Mike. Go and count rice if you don't agree. But let me get back to this. One of the reasons that KBF now can stand on the highest mountaintop and disparage HH, talk negatively about HH, is that, remember, there was a time he was getting close to H, and I find that people do this, and it's so sad. There are people that, because of their proximity to power, ooh, that's a good one. Because of their proximity to power, they take advantage of people. Have you ever met people that say to you, "Oh, I know the president. I know the president. I know," and then they show you pictures of them and the president. "Oh yeah, the president and I were even having dinner the other day, and I know the president. Here's a picture of me and the president. This is the picture of me and the president jogging. This is me and the picture. This is me and the president. We're sitting down conferring." There are people that use their proximity to power to hoodwink people. Because there are people out there that think, "Oh, if this one knows the president, then surely he must be legitimate." And then they try to get into a business transaction with you. Money is exchanged. Money is exchanged. Why? Because of the perceived proximity to power. The person I'm talking about now, this is a common story. What the guy did was that when he was getting close to HH, he used that proximity to power to gain access to a huge amount of money. And then when HH found out about it, HH said, "Hey man, what's going on here? I mean, what's the deal? I hear that you're using my name to get big cash, and what gives, man? We can't have that." There's the door. That's exactly what happened, and it happens all the time. It's a sad state of affairs. Balungu used to say that. Balungu used to say there are people who use my name to gain a monetary advantage. There are people who use their proximity to power to get what they want. And this man I'm talking about now did the same thing. When HH found out about that deal, HH called him in and said, "Hey man, what's going on? What are you doing? Well, you going out there, you using my name to get huge, big sums of money? Are you nuts? Are you crazy? We're not going to have that." There's the door. And don't let the door hit you on the way out. That's how they parted. That is how they parted. So today, the same person can stand up and start talking about, "No, HH doesn't have a vision." Well, we know why you're saying that. You're just bitter and angry and frustrated. And here's the thing, guys. We need, God give us men and women that know what proper checks and balances are, because this nation needs it. God give us men and women that place service before themselves. This nation needs opposition leadership. Right now, these jokers that call themselves opposition leaders, they are all jokers. They are all jokers. All of them, starting this UKA alliance, Ichibare Itati UKA, DOA, dead on arrival. UKA is low key BID. Those are bars. I need to go on tour. Can't be spending my time over here on Facebook. Did you hear that? UKA is BID. Those are bars. Brought in dead. That thing is a figment of its own imagination. Savoy, Jackson. Savoy and Jackson, all they do is fight and argue. Jackson is telling Savoy, "Who are you? You are nothing." And yet they're supposed to be batting for the same team. They're supposed to be playing on the same team. But they're there fighting each other. Nonsense. Nonsense. These political leaders we are now calling opposition leaders, they are not leaders. They are jokers. quintessential, pure, unadulterated jokers. We need better. We demand better. As Zambians, make no mistake, we do not live in a totalitarian state. We don't. This nation is firmly based on the tenets, not tenants, tenets of democracy. Therefore, we need opposition politics. What we don't need is a bunch of bottom feeders like Rafael Nakachinda. What we don't need is a bunch of political opportunists like KBF. What we don't need are people like Jackson and the lady from BDO. What's her? I always forget her name. Who's the lady? The woman lady. The lady that wants to be president. She's a brilliant accountant. Why she left the accounting firm is beyond me. You know, what's the lady's name? Tell me in the comments. Tell me, because I know many of you know. What was the lady's name? They're a bunch of bottom feeders. Oh, I'm telling you. These guys? These Negroes? Oh my goodness. A bunch of quintessential bottom feeders. And then they shroud it in political persecution. Rafael, let me tell you, this nation is on a brilliant trajectory. Yes, things are a bit rough right now. ZESCO, the power deficit is a big problem. Man, it's huge. It affects everybody. We know that. We're going through one of the worst droughts in the history of this nation. We know that. But I tell you what, whenever you're on a boat that's going through the tempest and the waves are billowing and the storm is raging, but the captain in the cockpit is steadfast, is clear, and knows exactly where we're going, and says to the crew, we're going to weather this storm. We're going to come out and emerge triumphant. Yes, things are rough now, but oh, I see a brighter day. I see a brighter day. We're going to navigate through this horror. We're going to navigate through the storm, and ultimately, joy comes in the morning. Now, I know, some of you don't want to hear that. Many of you want to hear that HH is going to fail, which he's not going to do. He's given up too much to fail. Listen, he's come this far. He's going to go the rest of the way. That's the truth. That is the absolute truth. And I am confident that regardless of the storm that we're going through now, and honey, we are going through a storm. Woo! Boy, I'll tell you what, regardless of that, I know the captain of this ship has a clear vision. Steadfast. Steadfast and clear. Yes. Steadfast and clear. All right. You can run and tell that. I gotta go. Almost 9 o'clock. All right, gotta go.